All right, there we go. Now we're recording. So how's baby?
Baby is upstairs sleeping, so that's good.
How old?
Well, he's 13 weeks this week.
Oh, so little bitty baby.
Yeah, tiny bobs. So he's doing well. It's been a journey, but you get there.
Is this your first?
Yeah, this is my
Oh,
first
yeah.
baby. So I literally released book three, and I had him the day before. So it was crazy. It was crazy times. It came on like unexpectedly, shall we say.
I bet. I'm sure you didn't plan that.
No, no, we didn't.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So how are you liking mom life at this point?
Yeah, I mean, like I always said, like I don't think anything can prepare you for mum life. It's one of those things where you just have to wing it and see what happens. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that's how it's working for me. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's hard though. It's very hard.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I have an 18-year-old now. She just turned 18 in September, and a she'll be 12 on Thursday. So I
Amazing.
understand. And let me tell you that 6 year difference when we had our oldest one to our little one, there's massive changes. So I'm
Yeah.
sure everything that I did, I could tell you, and you'd be like, that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Oh no. I think it changes from year to year, honestly. Like it's you've just got to try. I always do things old school way. Like my mum was very old school, so she's like,
Yeah.
do what feels good to you. So that's exactly that's what I'm doing.
100%. The only thing that we stood by from our oldest to our little one was our oldest had a lot of colic where she was like constantly, needing to lay on me. And a
Yeah.
little old lady at a store one time told us put a peppermint in water, warm water, and give it to her. And that worked better than anything we bought.
Oh,
Just a little peppermint in the warm
well,
water.
funny you say that because my son's just been diagnosed with like a milk allergy and like severe colic.
Oh,
So like it's been and he's had acid reflux as well. So you name it, like this kid has put us through the ringer. So it's been really, really difficult and we've tried so many things. Nothing works.
try that. I don't, she didn't have it severely, but she did have colic. And that's what we gave her was a little peppermint and a little water bottle. And, people are going to be like, oh, that's too much sugar and don't do that. Don't do that. It worked. It worked better than anything we'd found.
Yeah.
Even like the gas drops, any of that. We did that and it
Anything. No,
was
that's good to
work.
know. That's some good tips. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I like to share that one with everybody because I'm like, man, she was a little old lady. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
18 years ago, she was probably in her 70s to 80s when she told us this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she's been around the block.
Exactly. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Exactly. And they didn't have medicine like what we do now, so
Oh,
she knew.
it's better to go. I've always said go old school. I'm a kind of old school type gal. I would
Yeah.
try anything old school or like an old wife's tale is how we say it in Scotland.
Yeah.
So I'll try anything like that.
Yeah, that's how we are too. And we say that too. So you're good. All right. So let's get on to the books. As much as I love babies.
Yeah.
Um,
These are babies in a different sense.
yes, 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 they are. What are you working on right now? Or actually,
So
what do you write?
currently,
What kind of genre do
oh,
you write?
so I write fantasy romance and it's new adult fantasy romance.
Okay.
If new adult isn't something that's kind of like in the genre, I would say adult. Just because it does teeter on that edge. Like the first book especially kind of teeters on the edge of probably YA, but like new adult, like virgin right into new adult. So and then the rest of the books are fully like new adult slash adult. So I always tell people read with caution if you're reading the first book because it does steamroll straight into that kind of adult genre.
So when you're saying adult, are you meaning like on-screen sexual things or violence or
Yeah, so there's pretty much a whole load of everything like that in these books. There's probably a lot of trigger warnings in these books, and I do kind of put that at the beginning just so that you know, like, this is what's coming
What you're
up.
getting into.
So yeah, because of the genre, it's like fantasy romance. It's very much like built around this world of witches and demon hunters, so there's a lot of violence. There is a good bit of steam that comes with that, enemies to lovers. So I think that just brings on the violence and and the steam. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely, I would say, new adult into to adult.
So I recently read a book from an author who is in England, and she used a lot of words from England. So is that something we can I can't even talk. Is that something we can expect in your books, like more, because you are
Like,
Scottish? So is there going to be
yeah.
more?
Well, that's probably such a good question, and it's a funny question because anyone that is in my like beta reading team will laugh at this question because I put so much Scottish like influence into it, or like language into it, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" So, like, for an example, I had no idea that the rest of the world did not understand what chapping the door was. And like a girl from the States messaged me and was like, Noelle, what the hell is chapping the door? And I was like, chapping the door? And she's like, no, no, that doesn't happen. I was like, oh, knocking the door. And she was like, right, okay, that's what it means. So, like, there was just so many things that I had no idea that I was using that wasn't
That-
like known.
yeah, that nobody else would understand. That's funny.
Yeah.
I would say leave them in there, like leave some of them in there.
Yeah.
The way that the English author did it was she put something in the front and said, hey, I'm from England, I'm English, and there are going to be things in here that are English. Like, that's just what it is.
I like
But I
that.
liked it. I thought it was really cool. So,
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, like, with the way that the world lends itself. So, like, I take a lot of influence from Scottish culture. So, like, a lot of the demon hunters is based around clans.
okay.
So, like, if you've ever watched Outlander, I don't know if that's something that you've ever watched. There's a lot of Scottish culture and history that comes with the clans. So there's a lot of that kind of influenced into a whole new world. So there's a good bit of Scottish culture, I would say, in the book, but we don't speak in Scottish terms, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah. I like that though. I like that you're taking your heritage and bringing it into life somewhere else in a completely different
Yeah.
world. Um, so tell me more about this. Is this going to be a trilogy or is it going to be a whole series?
Yeah, so there's 5 books planned. Three's released. So an Empress of Air and Chaos is book one, an Empress of Fire and Steel's book two, and then just recently, a few months ago, I released an Empress of Earth and Darkness, which is the third book. And book four, which is an Empress of Water and Wrath, will be out next year.
Oh, nice. Very nice. And this is the only thing you've written. You haven't done anything else.
Nope, this is the only thing I started writing in lockdown, and it just grew arms and legs. Like, when we went into that whole, like, you can only go a walk for like an hour a day. I just had to take my mind off what was going on in the world, and I started writing, and
Yeah.
that's how I've ended up here.
I like it. Um, so have you ever written before? Like, is there like, do you freelance or do you have like a full-time job?
Yeah, so I work full time as well. So I work full time in HR, of all things, human resources. So I do that during the day, and then I am a writer by night. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard work juggling both worlds, your day job and then trying to be an indie author as well. It can be tough.
So how do you juggle it? Do you have like a certain time frame where you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to my room and write"?
I did before the
Oh,
baby
before
came.
baby.
So I really, really did. And I would probably dedicate a lot of time. I sacrificed a lot of time to that. And I was kind of panicking when I found out I was pregnant because one, book three was due out, and two, book like the next book in the series was also like in the works and spiraling. So I genuinely dedicated a lot of time just to get that book out into the world before baby came, and it literally came out the day after. So I think I spend maybe from about 6 until 10 o'clock at night. I used to write, but that can't work
Yeah.
anymore. So that is like I'm just doing when I can, when baby's sleeping or when husband is in and takes over.
Nice, nice. So, do you have like a routine that you use, or do you like listen to music, or
I am honestly such a weirdo. I can't write and listen to music. And everyone says to me, like, oh, what playlist do you listen to? And I'm like, I cannot listen to music. I have to have dead silence.
oh wow.
Or like sometimes I like see the kind of background noise, even in just like a thunderstorm. But I can't have like because I would just get so distracted. I'm so easily distracted. So
Just singing
I just
along?
I just silence. Silence is good for
Oh
me.
my goodness. Um, so this series is a fantasy
Yeah,
romance.
fantasy romance. Yeah.
So tell me more about that, how
Okay.
it plays out, kind of.
Yeah. So in book one, we follow our main character whose name is Amara. She doesn't really understand, like she doesn't realize in the beginning that she's in this whole different world. And then I quite like to get things started straight away. I don't like this thing that drags out. So literally 2 chapters later, her world is turned upside down. And we just get absolutely thrust into a whole new world of demon hunters and demons in the underworld. We get some fae in there, so fairies in there, and we get some witches. And trying not to give you any spoilers, but basically, she finds out a lot about herself, and there's a lot of elemental magic and twists and turns, and a lot of Salvatore brother vibes if you've watched the Vampire
Yeah.
Diaries. Um, so the two main characters that are male are brothers and they both fall for her. So we get a good bit of angst in
Yeah.
there, and a good bit of trauma.
Sure. I can only imagine. Do you have any plans to write anything else after this? Are you already like kind of thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got something that's literally like burning like at the back of like I just really want to get it kick started, but I am trying to be sensible and I'm trying to say to myself, you have a book series currently that's like on the roll and I just need to roll with that just now until I get that time to take the time and deal with this other one that is really shouting at me to be written. And it's kind of like it's inspired by the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Nice.
So I kind of want to twist that and make it even darker if I can.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I love the retelling of fairy tales when they're
I love
redone and they're
them.
darker. I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is quite dark. It's probably one of the darkest
yeah.
Disney movies that's there. So I'd be quite excited to try and take some of that and warp it and change it and move it around.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I'm
like that.
excited.
Yeah, I like that. I think there's a lot of dark in a lot of the Disney.
Oh yeah,
Like if you think now when you were watching them when you were kids, it wasn't, but now
no,
it's like,
absolutely
oh,
not. 100%. Especially The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I remember like watching it as an adult and thinking, this is horrendous.
yeah.
This is so bad. But yeah, I'm excited to try and see what I can do with that. I've not got lots of plans for this because I don't like to put a lot of pressure on myself. I just like to write and see what comes of it. So that's what I'll do with this one too.
Nice. Do you use an editor or do you edit yourself?
No, I use an editor. I edit, so I've got quite a process. Like I've got quite a like regimented process for writing. So I do a good couple of drafts, and then I actually print it all out, and I go through it so thoroughly and look at it from a different perspective, and then I go back in and do a good bit of drafting as well. I do probably about 7 or 8 drafts before it goes to beta reading. And then when the beta readers go in, they obviously maybe find some loopholes or whatever happens with them, and then they give me the feedback and I implement it. And then I do some final drafting, and then it goes to an editor, and then it comes back again, and that's when I do my final draft and formatting.
Nice, nice. Do you have one of the like the first books with you for the cover? So we can see the cover.
Let me take it off the shelf. So this is an Empress of Air
Oh,
and
that's
Chaos.
beautiful. I love that. Do you create your own or do you
No,
use?
so I've got a girl that I work with who does these for me. She's fabulous. I literally had no idea. I had an idea, but I didn't know how it would play out, and I just said, "You do your thing," and she came up with this, which I loved.
I love
Um,
it.
an Empress of Fire and Steel is blue, which we love.
Oh, wow. I love that. They're so pretty.
Um, and then Earth and Darkness, which is the latest baby, is here.
That makes sense. The colors make sense.
Yeah, the reason, so I go by, there's a lot of reference to the moon. I am obsessed with the moon. It's just my thing. And it actually goes by, and it's just the way that it's turned out, it actually goes by the moon cycle for the
Okay.
colour of the book. It just kind of happened to tie in with what I was doing. So yeah, that's
I
yeah,
like it. They're beautiful. They're
thank you.
absolutely stunning. You're welcome. Um, what is your favorite part of the publishing? Like when you're sitting there and you're writing it and you're getting ready to publish, what is your favorite part of that and least favorite?
Oh, the least favorite 100% is formatting. I am such a technophobe, and when it comes round to that kind of thing, it just literally like ruins my day. um, but probably like a lot of people, and I don't hear this often actually as a writer, but my favorite thing is that first draft. Like, see that first, like getting into what, or maybe the first or second draft, and it's just getting right into the manuscript and building it and creating a world or characters and chemistry on a page. That's just my favorite thing ever.
Nice. Do your characters talk to you? I hear that a lot with authors that they talk to them and they kind of have a dialogue.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it totally plays out in my mind as if I was watching it on like Netflix or something. And I'm totally like, okay. And I go and write it down on my notes. Like, even if it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, I will make sure, because I'm like, oh, that's a great line. I need to put that in.
I like
And
it.
I make sure that I note it down, because I know that when I wake up in the morning, it's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I make sure that I get it all into my notes and organized.
Do you do it on your phone or do you use like a little notepads up by your bed and you just write it out?
No, I do it on my phone, and it just means that I've got it and I can have it like in my notes, and I can just send it like email if I need to rework something or make sure something's in it or things like that. So I definitely keep it on my phone. I would lose paper. I'm so clumsy.
Would do you ever have to move things around like a character comes through and says, "Nope, I don't like that. We're going to redo this whole."
100%. Yeah. Because like I would love to be a plotter. Like I would love to plot everything, but I am a total pantser at heart. Like I totally just write as it comes, when it comes, where it comes from, and the characters take me sometimes in a different direction, and I really need to rein it back in. Um, so yeah, it's hard to kind of make sure that I've got a direction and stick to it.
Yeah. So have you ever had to like move a chapter because it just kind of was like, wait, 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 wait. You can't do
Oh
this
yeah,
here. You have to do this up here earlier in the book.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, all the time. And I've had to cut chapters or add chapters in, or cut characters or move two characters and merge them. Like I've got to play, like I believe in that. Like I believe in playing around with the script a lot, because I think as a writer, you can't be too stubborn. Like you can't think like, no, I've wrote that. That's the way it should stay. I think you've got to be playful with it, because it ends up turning out a lot better or more developed if you do. So I do like to play around with it a bit.
Nice, nice. Do you so you said like merging characters, like you have two characters that are like similar but not quite the same, and you have to take them and be like, okay, well now you're
Yeah.
one character because you wouldn't listen.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that because I had never planned to write like a, a love triangle or two or multiple love interests. And I started kind of writing Gideon's character, who is the person that she kind of comes into contact with first, and then Torrin, who is like a crowd favourite, just swooped in and absolutely stole the show. So it was hard not to lean into that, and I couldn't deny it. The chemistry was there and I couldn't deny it. So yeah,
Maybe you'll be a why choose writer
why
next.
choose? Well, there's a running joke within my beta team or like my street team, and it is hashtag two hands, because they're always saying like, you've got two hands, why do you need to choose? And
I
the
like
guys
it.
just don't want to choose. So
Well, there you go. That's all that really matters, huh?
yeah.
Um, so what is your favorite part of besides the manuscript, like the entire process? Is it strictly manuscript, or do you enjoy building these characters? And do you do a lot of world building?
I love building. My favorite thing, and you'll probably see if you ever read my books, I'm a very character driven author. Um, Even as a reader, I'm a very character driven reader. Like I like to read about the characters. I do like a good bit of world building, but it doesn't have to be massive for me. I really like seeing the chemistry between characters, what makes a character tick, what do they hate, what do they dislike, what do they love to do. Um, and I like to create like controversy in their world so that they see how to deal with it. So I think like a big part of that for me is creating that enemies to lovers vibe, and seeing that like almost like hatred turn into that like
Yeah,
sexual desire, but also like it's forbidden, so it's even better. That's my favorite thing to write. It's my favorite thing to read. So yeah, I just love writing that. It comes very naturally, which is
nice.
scary.
So, as an indie author, what is the hardest thing for you? Is it marketing? Is it finding the time? Is it making sure you have the right street team members? Like, what's the
Yeah.
hardest part to you?
Oh, I mean, I suppose like if you look at it, there's probably lots of hard bits of each of them that you've just said. I would say finding the time to continue to market can be very difficult, especially when I don't have a marketing background, or like I said earlier, I'm a technophobe. So I've really had to learn and try to find what is visually like appealing to people. Do TikToks work? It's just honestly, it's a minefield that I think indie authors don't get enough credit for, because we literally don't come from any of these. But well, some do, some indie authors do, but I haven't came from a background like that, so I have really had to learn all these new skills, and hone them very quickly to try and create a social media platform for people to be attracted to my work.
Yeah. What about what's your favorite platform? Do you like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook better?
Instagram's probably my favorite, because I started off as a bookstagrammer,
Yeah.
and I just like absolutely loved the world, and it was always my plan to go into an author, like to go into the author profile. But I started off as a bookstagrammer, and I just absolutely loved the whole world, like because none of my friends read the same books that I did. So when I found that bookstagram was a thing, it just honestly changed my world.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
cliche
I
as
would
that
say
sounds.
that. I found that too. Like I have a lot of friends who read, but they read like the self-help books and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's so boring.
Yeah, I
And
know.
So I understand that. Mine, I found TikTok first before I found Bookstagram.
Oh, really?
Found TikTok first. TikTok actually, the Zodiac Academy was the first thing that I had read in probably, I'd say 10 years. 10 years
Oh
plus.
my.
Yeah,
And you went straight in with the
I did.
Zodiac.
I just jumped.
I
And
love
I
it.
haven't looked back.
Oh
Well,
my,
because
no
they said
wonder.
Harry Potter, like the way it was to me was that it was, I saw an ad or something on TikTok, a video, and it said, "Hey, do you like Harry Potter? What about Harry Potter adult themed?" And I was like, who doesn't like Harry Potter?
Exactly.
And I read it and
Oh,
I was like, okay.
that's so interesting that like you jump straight into Zodiac Academy, because it's like interesting that you say that, because I was in a major, after writing, I was in a major book slump. Like any book that I picked up, I could not for the life of me read it, because I was always thinking about my characters and what I had to do, and then I felt guilt as an author. You get author guilt. um and I actually, when I fell pregnant with my baby, I was like, I need to take a break. Like, I'm absolutely like done. And I seen this whole hype about Zodiac Academy, and I literally get sucked in to the
Yeah.
world. Like, and it was the first thing that brought me out of that reading slump for months. So it's such an easy read.
Yeah, it is easy. I'm still working on book 8, but that's only because I literally have been crying the first half of the entire book. So
Yeah, me
I'm
too. Me too. I
um
actually went to Ruthless Boys because I had to take a break from Zodiac Academy. So I'm now in book 4 of Ruthless Boys just now.
then I
Um,
won't spoil anything with any of the characters.
I can just feel that this is taking the same turns as it does in Zodiac Academy. So
It's
I do.
they're all good books. I literally devoured them. When I started reading, I just that was what I did. I devoured them. And then I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, wait, there's a whole community of people out here like yourself that are indie authors that don't have the hype that these ladies have." And
yeah.
so I took it with that and just ran with it, and that's pretty much what I've been doing since. So probably I started probably in 2020, and then ever since then I've been doing nothing but indie authors.
I love that. No,
Time.
that's really good. And you know, a lot of us will so appreciate that, because like you do see the same books hyped continuously, and there's a reason for that, and I get that. And I'm probably the same. Like I hype the same books as everyone else, but there's just that one person to take a chance on your book, and it can change a lot for an indie author.
Yeah.
Um, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for keeping the hype
Oh,
for the
for
indies
sure.
going.
I don't join a lot of street teams because I'm bad about following the rules. Or not the rules, but I'm bad about being
Yeah.
like, hey, post this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to post that. And then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. And then I'm like, oh, I need to do that. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot. So I just don't join the street teams, but I'll read a book and review it and post it everywhere.
I
Like,
love that.
no questions asked.
That is my favorite thing about, it's like, I know you asked earlier, like, what would be your favorite thing? Genuinely, when someone messages me, like, in my DMs, like, oh, I can't believe this has happened in your book, like, that genuinely makes me the happiest author alive. I just love that somebody wants to reach out to me to speak to me about my world.
Yeah,
Um, Love that.
I love that. I actually hadn't heard of you, so I love that Tia put me with you because I'm very interested in reading those. Like, and I love finding the new authors, or not necessarily new, but new authors to me that I haven't
Yeah,
read before. So I will be super excited to grab those and read those.
I love that. You need to
Yes, ma'am.
message me when you're doing it.
Oh, I will. I will ask Tia. She did her book, and I was like, "What the heck did you just do?"
Yeah.
So,
You
but
might message me that too.
oh my goodness, that'll be I'm excited. And I love finding new authors to me and just reading their books. Like a lot of the times I'll go through and I'll just devour everything that they've written.
Yeah.
And I'll do it all in the same, setting. I used to
Yep.
wait till the series was done, but now I'm like, why are you waiting? Just do it. Just read the books. And then you
Read
have the
them.
anticipation of waiting
Yeah.
for the new one to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and you know, like there's one thing that this is maybe a gripe for me. This is something that kind of hurts me as an indie author. See, when I see someone saying like, "Oh, I'm going to wait until the full series is out," like that hurts indie authors because indie authors can't really work that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like we need our following to be with us every single book and not just wait to the book series is out. So like I think like and I understand because people don't like to wait to read the book, especially when you're an avid reader and you just want to get straight in. But it does kind of sometimes hurt an indie author if we
Yeah.
do have that mindset. Because it just means that we're not picking up the books. That then means we don't have the money to get the cover, to do the editing, to publish. So yeah, it's a different mindset for traditionally published as opposed to indie
Yeah.
authors, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I just kind of like, well, no, I want to read the series, so I'm just going to start it. And if it's not done, then it's not done. I'll just wait. Because then I look
Yeah,
at it like, well, if I was an ARC reader for the first book, then more than likely I'm going to ARC the second book
yeah,
or the third. You know what I'm saying? So now at
yeah,
this point, I'm just like, I'm just going to be there. I've got
yeah,
one author that I've been with since book 2 because I didn't know about book 1. And so
yeah,
now it's just, she's got a whole beta team and we just read them for
yeah.
her all the time, every single one of
Yeah,
them.
that's the same as mine. Like my beta readers, I've probably had about 3 constant beta readers since I started.
Yeah.
Others have kind of filtered in and out, but like even my hype team, there's been a lot of the girls in my hype team that have genuinely been with me from even I just started posting about like, oh, here's what's coming.
Yeah.
Just genuinely been with me from the get go, and it's amazing. Like it's absolutely amazing what a bookstagrammer can do for an author.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed. Like it's crazy. And you don't think about it because you don't think, oh, my little post that I'm gonna make of this review on this book is gonna go anywhere. And so what? Maybe, 5, 10 people look at it, but somebody's reading that book now because
Yeah.
you posted it, which in turn
Yeah.
is making that author money and it's working. So that's how I look
Words are
at it.
so powerful. Like it's so powerful.
Hmm.
Like the more that you talk about something, the more someone's going to be convinced. It's like selling. You've got to sell it, like because we don't have anyone doing that for us. So the more someone like our readers talk about our work, it just means it's getting out there. It's getting seen. And I think
Yeah.
as an indie author, that's all you want.
Yeah. My daughter's asking me. She's like, is she British? No. She said Australian. Scottish. Come
Hi
show
from
me your face.
Scotland.
No, she won't show you her face. But yeah, she was asking because she could hear you. So she was like, what is she British? No, she's Scottish. Goodness. Well, I don't have any more questions for you. It is dinner time, so I need to get them fed. But I look forward to getting are your books on Kindle Unlimited or are they
So
just
yeah, the first two are.
okay?
The third one will be at some point.
Yeah,
It's just getting getting round to that. But yeah, the first two are. So you could make a headway with the first two and start
I
them.
will.
That's something you want.
I'll jump on them. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
I would just probably like to ask you who your favorite author is, or authors.
Oh gosh. There's so many. I would have to say Rawson Visser. She does dark romance, but she does Why Choose. And she's the one that I've been with from book 2.
Love.
I love her. And then there's so many though. There's so many.
It's the worst question.
I know it really, really is. I'll tell you this. I don't write bad reviews. I don't believe in them. So really it's not, I might not like somebody's writing style, but I'm never going to put a review out there and say, this was a bad book. Don't read this book. I
Yeah,
will find things in the book that I
yeah,
like
I like that.
and I'll maybe word my review around that versus just bashing whatever the author did because you're putting your time and effort into this. And just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that somebody else won't like it.
Yeah,
But it also doesn't mean that my negative review isn't going to influence somebody else to not read your book when
Yeah.
really they don't know. Like, I can tell you, I did not even know about dark romance until KG Rouse. Russ? I don't know if you know her. I don't know if you read dark romance, but I didn't know anything about that until
Yeah.
somebody said, you need to read this. And so I read that and I was like, oh, that's a whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And so there's too many, honestly, authors to name. Just Rawson, I've been with her, like I said, since book 2, and
Yeah.
she's amazing. But it's just because I read all the genres. I read them all. I will read
Yeah.
everything from YA just to make sure that my 11-year-old can read it to
Yeah.
something she doesn't even need to think about touching until she's 35.
100%. Yeah.
So I can't really pinpoint an author here and there because I love them all. And like I said,
Good.
if I will tell you, I'm not a big paranormal, like demon, like paranormal romance where it's like I read one time that was like gargoyles and
No.
shadow people, and I was like, okay, but I didn't leave a bad review. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Just
You know, I
wasn't for you.
have yet to
Yeah.
read the big blue alien book, the barbarian thing.
Barbarian. Yeah. Planet. Yeah.
I haven't read that because
Never.
I'm like, really?
I don't know how I feel about it. And you know, I actually nearly downloaded it not long ago because there is so much hype about it. You want to see what's going on. And I don't know how I feel about it.
I'm the same way. Like my husband already asks me, are you reading normal porn or fairy? And I'm like, what? So he already asked me that. So all I need now is to throw in some aliens in there. He'll
Absolutely.
have
And
fun with
that'll
that.
blow
No.
his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know. That's such a hard question. Do you have a favorite author besides yourself? No.
Noelle Rayne.
No.
I have a few. Probably I've got a lot of cliches, and it's just because it's what I fell in love with, and it's how I fell in love with fantasy. So, like your Sarah J. Maas like
Oh yeah.
situation, love Sarah, like Sarah's worlds that she builds. I absolutely love Gina Showalter, who's like Lord of the Underworlds. There's like again, there's a few that
Yeah.
different times. Like for if it was YA, it would be like Cassandra Clare, but I've like I came out of that phase pretty
Not her.
quickly. And I'm just like totally into like your kind of adult romance now, obviously. But so that is the hardest
It
question.
is. I forgot about Cassandra Clare. I really did. And I read almost all of those books. I forgot
Same.
all about her. And I know there's more. And so now like I've been watching them pop up more and more like on my
Yeah.
For You page and stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know where I stopped at this
I don't
point.
even know. I'm the same. I think I stopped, and it was the kind of the series after, like the Immortal Instruments
Yeah.
series. That one, and I think I was about book 2, and I've never went back to the third one. But I should, because I did love her. I've just not
I know.
been
I
vibing.
think the same thing all the time too. And I'm like, okay, I know I have them somewhere. So, because I don't have all my books unpacked, because we didn't have the room. But I'm like, I know I have them somewhere. So I need to look at
Yeah,
them and find out where
see,
I stopped
yeah, I know,
and go back to it.
I
Um,
know.
well, I don't have anything else, and our time is going to end in a minute. So, but
Well,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you so much for taking
Yeah.
the time to speak to me.